This is the Digital Agency Insiders Podcast. Inside, you'll learn how to build, grow, and scale your digital marketing agency, all from the comfort of your favorite coffee shop. Let's get started with the show.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Digital Agency Insiders Podcast. My name is Tabitha Thomas, and if this is your first time listening to the podcast, I invite you to hit that subscribe button so you can get more interviews from other top digital agency owners. Also, while you're there, drop us a review. I would love to hear what you guys think about the podcast. So, on to today. Today I have with me Brett Campbell, and Brett is a serial entrepreneur, having founded two of Australia's fastest growing companies in their respective fields, including the fastest growing fitness franchise at its time, exploding to 35 locations within the first 6 months of operation, and currently the fastest growing digital growth agency, having recently won the accolade of 2018 Best Social Media Agency of the Year award for Australia and New Zealand within the first 12 months of operation. Brett is also a published author, global speaker, and television personality on Australia's #1 mainstream business channel. Brett, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you on here. Yes. So the first question that I always love asking, and the one thing I love about podcasting, is that I get to help share stories about other people and other businesses. So I want to hear your story. What got you to where you are today? Where did your entrepreneurial spirit come from? And how did you go from the fitness franchise to the digital agency?
Yeah, okay. So I'll give you the quick story and then you could sort of take it back to wherever you want to know more.
All right. Sounds good.
So it really started when I was 4 years old. So 4 years old, I was playing outside in my caravan. We lived in a caravan park here in Australia, my mum, my father, and my sister. And I just finished school. And I remember this day like vividly. Out of probably most days of my entire life, I remember this one so vividly. And so I was playing outside and I heard my name being yelled out, Brett, Brett, Brett. And I was like, because I was a bit of a rascal of a kid, right? Could never sit still. And I thought, I'm in trouble for something, because it was my mum yelling out. And I ran into the caravan, put my head through the caravan door, looked through. And in front of me, my father was standing there, and he'd just gotten back from the pub, and this was 11 a.m. and he was about to throw my mum through the caravan window. And my mum's instructions was run across the road and get some help. And that's all I remember from that. So everything leading up to that moment, and then running across to get help. And the next thing I know, my mother, myself, and my sister on an airplane and moved to New Zealand to start a brand new life. And it was at that stage, I remember this so vividly, it's crazy, that I remember saying to my mum, "It's okay, Mum, I'll take care of us." And that's been my guiding, driving force through every, thunderstorm, cyclone that I've had in business in my entrepreneurial journey, because I have a lot of them, right? And I have a lot of them is because I put myself in those positions to have a lot of them. I'll fire the gun 20 times and then aim, and I'm cool with that because I know what that sort of looks like. So, I know my wheelhouse. I know what I'm really good at, and I know what I'm not really good at. And I hire people who are better than me at that thing to help. It started from a very, very young age. I grew up, very low socioeconomic. So we moved from a caravan into a housing estate in a real poor town in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But in saying all of that, obviously it's the old cliche of, I wouldn't change a thing. But I had this burning desire as a young kid that I just wanted more. Like I just couldn't understand. We'd drive past houses and I'd be like, how does someone have that house? Like, what do they do for a job? What's their work? How are they making money? And from a very young age, none of my friends were like this, right? I was the purple cow in the paddock, right? Going, why aren't you thinking like me? Like, why aren't we doing certain things to make extra money? Because my goal back then, when I was, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, was my ultimate outcome was to generate as many $2 coins as I could, right? And in New Zealand, we had coins, right? No dollar notes. The purpose of that was, the purpose of that was I wanted $1 worth of jet plane lollies, and the other dollar I was going to use for 20-cent pieces so I could play Street Fighter, the arcade game. So that was my desire. That was the goal. And my mum didn't have extra $2, didn't have $1 lying around to give me. So I had to be resourceful and I had to be out there on the streets, door knocking. So 11 years old, I had about 10 lawns that I was mowing. Like I could hardly push a lawnmower because I was wringing wet, bloody little kid, scrawny kid back then. But I had this desire that I wanted to make the money. So, I'd knock on doors. My sales pitch was knock, knock. Hi, my name's Brett Campbell. Have you got any jobs for me? No. Next door. Have you got any jobs for me? No. Got any jobs for me? No. And then I was like, no, it's not really working. So I was like, let's go back to the same houses again. And my sales pitch. And looking back at this, I didn't really realize, but I'd knock on the doors. I said, hey, my name's Brett Campbell. Have you got any jobs for me? And they're like, Brett, you were here last week, mate. Like, we don't have any jobs for you. And I said, I can mow lawns. I can pull weeds out of your garden. I'll take your rubbish out. I'll wash your car. And then what happened was someone goes, oh, actually, my car is dirty. You can go wash it. How much? I said, $5. And he's like, cool. It's a terrible job, but because it was my first car, I had no idea. Right. So it really from a very early age, this desire to create and build things, and that's really where the entrepreneurial spirit for me came from. And it's more the ability to be able to be in control of my own destiny, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love it because
I could go on for years, but
that are in that same situation, and you've got two routes. You can either follow the one you've always been on and continue down that path, or completely change it and do something different in your life. So I love that. So how did you get into the fitness field? Like how did you get there to get into the digital agency?
Sure. So what happened was I got kicked out of high school, and there was only one job going in my town, and it was an apprenticeship. It was an apprenticeship cabinet maker. So I was like, well, I might as well do that. I got nothing else to do. Right. But at that time, I'd had these I just knew that I was destined for something, and I had no idea. First day on the job as a cabinet maker, I was 16 years old. And I said to my boss, my intention was, how do I own this place? Like from day one. And I didn't know nothing about it. I was like, well, how do I be the boss? How do I own this? How do I get a Holden crewman ute like you have? Like, cause that was all I had to really aspire to. Right. Yeah. So I took that route, and I talked to a lot of people, and it's the typical, like, I was a trapped entrepreneur for about 5 years because I knew from day one that this apprenticeship wasn't what I wanted to do, nor should I have been doing it. But I stuck at it for 5 years too long. Right. Until it got to a point where I was like, I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. The pain got so much, right? The pain was so strong that I was like, I am moving. I'm packing my suitcase. I took my golf clubs in one hand, my one suitcase in the other, and I jumped on an airplane and moved back to Australia to start a brand new life. I knew no one where I was. And that's where it started. I became a personal trainer. I did a course online while I was working nights at a nightclub, which really gave me the introduction to the surfers paradise world where I live here in the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, which is absolutely amazing. And I, fell in love with the fitness because I was a gym buff at that time because, Gotcha. I said I was a real small kid and I needed to gain muscle. So, as soon as I could lift up a weight, I was pumping weights. And I thought, well, I love fitness. Why not be a trainer? Yeah. And I quickly lost my passion for training whilst I was a trainer because I was doing it all day, every day, teaching everyone. But then I was becoming part-time psychologist, and it was just it was a crazy ride. And I uncovered I was walking past my flatmate's computer at this time, and I was heading out to the gym to go and train clients for my night sessions, right? So most personal trainers would do morning sessions, go home during the day, and then they'd do nights. So I was going back for the nights, and I was just exhausted. I was sort of fed up. I was like, come on, man, you're doing another thing that you isn't really the thing. Mm-hmm. But I was just waiting for that. What's the sign? What's the next step? And I walked past my flatmate's computer, and I seen a PDF document on the screen, and it had a picture of someone standing, and then right next to it was him squatting. And I was like, what is that? She goes, I just bought it. It's a workout program. Cost me $37. And I was like, that's it. From that moment, I became obsessed with online marketing, lead generation, how to create and ideate and build products and services and sell them online. And, to date, we've generated millions of leads and sold tens of thousands of products and made, tens of millions of dollars doing that. And what happened was we became so good at the online space and generating community, and we really did pioneer it. We were one of the first pioneers in Australia in that health and wellness space. And we became we grew so quick that we had people from all around the country, like girls from around the country saying, hey, when are you going to come and train here? When are you going to train us here? And I was like, I've got an idea. Why don't I just build a franchise? I whipped up a sales page and utilized everything I knew with online marketing, psychology and persuasion, influence and everything, put a sales page up, and we were inundated by people wanting to become a franchisee of ours and run one of our businesses. And, I say we had 35 in 6 months. That was only because that's all we could bring on in that time. Like I had over 170 people lined up, and it was it just went crazy. So it was that progression of learning online marketing, and then I was teaching it, I was coaching and mentoring people on it. But there's only so much coaching and mentoring you can do for someone, and they actually have to do the work. And then it sort of led to,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, 2 years
I'm guessing
prior.
You had no franchise experience whatsoever. I'm going
absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. I quickly learnt on the job. In saying that though, one thing I did do was I hired someone who had already built franchises, like a coach at the time, and to sort of help me navigate, which actually didn't help me in the overall scheme of it, but that's an entire another story for a different podcast. But the reality is, I was learning as I was doing it.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, I'll shoot 20 times and then I'll think about aiming.
Yeah.
But again, I always backed my ability, right? And that's the thing. Like I'll always back myself no matter what. So.
Gotcha. So then you quickly made the switch over to the agency, the digital agency after that?
Well, not quickly, because then for a couple of years, I was running a consulting company as well.
Oh, okay.
Where I was teaching people how to do it. Because, when you do something and people are knowing that you're doing it, they're like, hey, can you show me? Can you show me? And I was like, cool, okay, let's start a group coaching program. And then all of a sudden that becomes a 7-figure business. And you're like, oh shit, wait on, like, I was getting dissatisfaction because I was teaching people and they just weren't doing the bloody work, And I had a chat with a friend of mine at the time, and I was like, man, I don't know about you, because he was in the coaching world as well. So I don't know about you, but I fucking lose, sorry if I can't swear, but I lose sleep at night knowing that my coaching client wasn't getting results. But I knew it wasn't me, because I knew they weren't implementing, right? So, but that still bothered me, right? That still bothered me immensely. And then for probably at least 2 years prior to opening the doors to our current agency, Claxon, people were asking, can you just do it for me? Can you just do it? And I was like, no, I'm too busy doing it for myself and my other multiple businesses that I have. I don't have time to do it for you. And don't be so fucking lazy, do it yourself type thing. That was sort of my mentality at the time, right?
Yes.
Because I had to learn. When I learned online marketing, I'd get home from 9 p.m. from training clients, and I would be sitting there learning HTML coding. There was no ClickFunnels or lead pages or any drag and drop builders. I had to go online and go, oh, how do I make a bold? How do I make that word bold? You can't just go bloody Alt B and bold. Like, bracket BR bracket. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? So, but
and that didn't make you run away. That's incredible.
Well, it's because here's the reality, right? There's a lot of things that I have done that I've absolutely hated doing, but I knew that I needed to do that to get to the end outcome. So imagine you just telling me that I'm going to go, I have to go and live in China in 6 months, and I can't get out of there. I'm stuck in China for the next 10 years. Yeah. I would absolutely hate learning the language, because my brain would explode a billion times. But I would learn it because I knew that I'd have to. Yeah. Right. So sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do to get the outcome. And learning HTML coding, I didn't want to do it. But in saying that, it's actually helped me a lot. Right. Yeah. It's doing the unnecessary evil to get to the other side of it. So
yeah, well, and knowing it enough that you can outsource it to somebody else and know what they're doing or not doing.
and that's exactly right. And that's why we've been able to build our agency and win multiple awards and just recently listed number 20 on the Deloitte Fast 50 businesses, number 20 out of 50 here in Australia. The reason why we've been able to do that, because I have the intelligence, and don't get it twisted, I don't know everything. I have the enough intelligence on each thing. So I've got an unfair advantage in our business because I know every role.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to do pretty much every role. Not as good as everyone
fair, though. I think that every business owner should know how to do all the roles, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that I've had a number of debates around that purely because I'm a different person. I love learning. Like, I love new things. I'll go out of my way to learn something that I know I don't have to learn just because I love it.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, to the point where I'm happy to test, I'm happy to play, I'm happy to trial and do things. And that's the secret sauce that enables someone to move forward faster than others. That's it. It's just doesn't mean I'm better than anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just willing to have pie on my face at the end of the day, or stand in a bit of shit just to go, well, at least I know that doesn't work now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
You know? Ariana Grande's song, Thank You, Next, rings true to me. You know, like, all right, thank you, next, let's go. What's on?
I love it. So tell me a little bit about what are the type of services that you do inside of Claxton? What do you guys provide?
Yeah, so Claxon, we specialize in the 4 key areas. We call it the 4 key pillars, which is the social, right? Mm-hmm. So we have, we specialize Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, basically any social platform that's worth being on, we are on it. Yeah. Secondly, we look at search. So that's Google, that's YouTube, etc. Google Shopping, all of those. Mm-hmm. The third is programmatic, which is basically everywhere else online that you can run advertisements on, you know, whether it's banner advertising on websites, whether it's on-demand apps, you know, so the programmatic side of it, which is generally more for higher end of the town because there's, you know, a lot more budget and spend needs to go behind it to make it really effective. And then deep data. So those are the 4 key pillars that we work in.
I like it. So what do you think?
Let me share with you why we do that, because I think that's important.
Please.
Because what we've seen over the last 3 years of being at the forefront of what's happening in this industry, because it's really important to note that this industry is so fresh. It's still so new. There are so many cowboys out there swinging lassos trying to make this work. And I get it. Everyone's having a crack. Totally understand, because I'm the type of guy that likes to have a crack.
Yeah.
However, because it's so new, people are, you know, just trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. The lucky thing is that obviously I've had experience in advertising back when really Facebook started, and even then before that Google. So I've sort of been able to be on the wave for the lifetime of this industry, which is one, it's exciting. It's changed so much, but also look at where things are moving. And because of the, you know, the millions and millions of dollars that we manage here on advertising spend, you know, every single month, we get to see things that others don't see. And, you know, results at the end of the day is all a business owner wants. You know, like if you're an agency and you're just doing some social organic posting, this and that, it's like, well, what's the actual outcome really? So we're a performance-based agency. So we operate in the pay-to-play space. We operate in growing and scaling businesses' profit. So we don't run ads, we don't build ads, we build businesses. And that's a very clear distinction, right? So we don't build ads, we build businesses. And to do that, you can't just run Google. You can't just run Facebook or Instagram. We are living in a world where there's an omni-channel approach, and an omni-channel approach is what's needed to really succeed at the highest level. You can still win on Facebook. You can run an e-commerce business and you can do good at Facebook, and you could be making bank all day, every day. But if you want to make more money, right, you need to adopt an omni-channel approach. So our most successful e-commerce clients are using Snapchat, Pinterest, you know, Google Shopping, search, and Facebook and Instagram. You know, so there's a plethora of opportunity, because as we know, attention moves.
Yes, it
You know,
does.
attention.
Well, and I heard
So
you say TikTok, which is really so freaking new. I'm
oh,
curious how you're using TikTok for clients.
yeah, so it's again, it is very new, and you know, TikTok are only just bought out a beta um, ads platform, so there's really not a lot to really report on that right now. However, everyone can be on TikTok. You just use the Facebook Audience Network as well, so they've still got that running. So if you're going through TikTok, you're like, how's this person got an ad? Let's just run through Facebook Audience Network. But
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
reality is you got to look at each platform and you go, okay, TikTok. Well, TikTok's really got a 10 to 20 second, really like short, snappy. You got to make a big impact, and there's not a lot of direct response that can really happen in that time unless it's really just a big marketing hook is how you could utilize it. But it's like anything. You just got to look at it. You got to test. You got to be willing to put some marketing dollars in front of it and for it to flop on its face. And that's what a lot of people aren't prepared to do because they actually can't do it. That's the reality, you
Yeah.
know? So I'd much rather drop a couple of grand and find out it didn't work and then learn from it, you know? But I get it because then people go, oh, but I don't have a couple of grand. I'm like, well, I never had any money to start with either. We all start from somewhere. It's like a couple of grand might be just go and test $200 for you.
Yeah.
But I was I got an email this morning about $1 a day Facebook ad strategy. I almost threw up in my bloody mouth. I'm like, this is the problem, right? There's people out there going, how do I tap into the people who have a $50 ad budget a month, who then can buy my course because they've only, and it's like every industry. Let's not get confused there. It's like every industry, which is exciting for us because it opens up that opportunity that, we're showing, the actual real way how to grow and scale a business using paid social. It's not about, can I get more followers or fans or not even email addresses. Like, well, how does that all convert? I can get you 100,000 email addresses tomorrow. Go set up a highly targeted ad in India and create a giveaway an iPad. Like, bang, there you go. What are you going to do with those 100,000 leads though, right?
Yeah.
They want an iPad. They don't want an adjustable bed.
Yeah.
Like, why are you, what's the point? So just getting clear on the strategy.
Yes. So tell me, what kind of clients do you have right now and what are their typical budgets for your agency?
Yeah, so we have a number of different clients ranging from small business owner, solopreneur, in some cases, all the way up to enterprise clients doing, over $500 million a year. So ad budgets vary considerably. In my honest opinion and what I share with everyone is, look, if you can't put, $5,000 a month ad budget to something to grow and scale a business, and I'll come back and preface this because I know people are already going, oh, but 5,000's a lot. I get it, but you're building a business. This is the difference. You're not just having a crack to get some people on your course. You're either building a business or you're having just a little bit of a dabble. And if you're having a dabble, well, the reality of you winning having a dabble is going to be even slimmer than if you sit down and actually create a strategy and go, oh, we actually need $5,000 ad budget to go towards this because this is where it's getting dispersed. We need to put this much over here and being known first, because who the hell even bloody knows you, right? You need to be known first. Then we need to actually market to them some, great information and ideas and then have some amazing offers. And so there's more to it than just put an ad up, put $100 behind it, and let's see what happens. You need to be more strategic with building your business. And that's what I think is the biggest issue right now with a lot of, people who call themselves entrepreneurs or business owners is they're actually not treating it like they're building a business. Because if they were, why would you not have a full-time marketing team or person that is absolutely dedicated to doing the most important thing in your business, which is creating leads and sales? Like, I mean, you could have the best kept secret, but if you ain't going to sell it, goodbye. Unfortunately, and I hate it because it's a lot of my conversations and speeches that I've been doing of late is, whilst I come from the Facebook world and I used to be very technical. I mean, I personally haven't run an ad in bloody months and months and months. Sometimes I just get in there and have a bit of a play to keep sharp, but
Yeah.
you know, my conversations around people are looking at this industry the wrong way. Business owners are looking at social media the wrong way. And
Okay.
a lot of it has been led on by Facebook, right?
Mm.
Because they've got to meet criteria. You know that little blue button that says boost post? Like this post is outperforming 80% better than any other post you got. You're like, holy shit, is it? Okay. Would you like to boost it so more people see it? Okay. Yes, $20. And then as soon as you do that, they're like, would you like to put another $20 on and we'll double the views? We're like, oh shit, yeah. What? That means 10,000 people are going to see my thing today. Well, that has to work. Boost, right? And it creates this false precedence that that's how advertising and marketing is done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I know the answer to your question was, or the question was, you know, what type of clients we got and what type of budgets. It varies considerably, but I think people need to have a bare minimum. And again, it's predicated on what platforms you're using. But if you don't have at least a couple of grand to put towards it consistently, and here's what I wouldn't suggest is if you've just got a runway of like 1 month worth of advertising, don't start your advertising just yet, right? Wait until you've actually built up a little bit of a runway, because 1 month, like when I first started Facebook advertising, it was a lot easier, right? To the point where my first ever ad that I ran, I created an ad, and we were actually giving away a meal plan at the time in the fitness space. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like, download our meal plan, right? Sending them to an opt-in page. And I was like, okay, who do I want to have this? And this was the first problem, right? I was creating strategy whilst I was in the ads manager account. Wrong. Don't do that. What? Jeez, that's ridiculous, right? It's like trying to write your book from the first page. You don't do that, right? There's a strategy around it.
Outline.
So
yeah.
I sat there and I'm like, okay, yep. Well, we want females to get this. Okay. What age group? Well, 18 to 65. I mean, they all eat, right? I'm sure they're interested. I was like, bang, bang, 8.5 million people. I was like, whoo, yes, place ad. And out it goes. Like there was zero targeting thought behind it. You know, it was ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now you've got to be extremely methodical, because there's so many more people doing it, which is even more exciting for us, because you know, our ethos around strategy first is becoming more and more and more popular, and we're getting more and more businesses come to us, go, hey, we use this agency, and you know, that didn't work out for us. I was like, well, what was this sort of setup like? What was the strategy like? Oh, you know, we rang them on Wednesday and said, can you run some ads? And they had them up running on Monday. Now, I could get an ad up right now in the next 10 minutes, but it doesn't mean it's going to work, right? So there's a number of caveats to look around that. I could blur on all day, so I'm going to let you jump in.
Oh, go ahead. I'm liking it. So one question that I've got for you is, how many people do you have working in your agency now? Obviously, it's not just you, and you're working with big budgets. So how many people does it take to do what you guys are doing right now?
We've got a team of around 20 at the moment, 20 plus our board. So about 24 of us, I believe, total. But how many people does it take? Well, again, very dependent. So we create bespoke strategies. So there's no out of the box cookie cutter, you know, same copy and paste, which again, a lot of people are doing. Like if anyone's charged, you know, the average agency out there, you know, trying to have a go at it, you know, they're charging, you know, $2,000-$3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I don't know how anyone can create a real strategic marketing strategy and implement it and execute it and have the ability to be pivot and be agile when required. It's just not possible. If you think about it, right? $3,000 a month is like $36,000 a year. That's not even going to pay for a junior person who knows nothing about advertising to come into your business. Like, I mean, and this is that thing, right? Realism. Businesses are like, oh, but Bob, my mate Bob, he's got a cousin. He only charges $2,000 to run ads. I'm like, cool. Okay. Yeah. Like I get it. I understand. And I know we're all trying to, you know, do what's best with the cash flow that we have. And, you know, that's probably one of the biggest hurdles that we're jumping over at the moment with people, is just trying to help and navigate them to a different viewpoint on what marketing actually is, the importance of marketing in your business, and that Facebook or Snapchat or Pinterest is just one of the tools that sit on a tool belt. It's not Facebook is not your strategy. Right? It is a tool. And this is why I say we don't build ads, we build businesses. It just so happens right now, ads is the tool that we're creating to make it happen. Yeah. Right. So if tomorrow the thing is pigeons that drop off messages, man, I'll go and buy I don't know if the word a flock, is it a flock of pigeons? I'll go and buy a whole heap of them anyway. Whatever it is, I'll go and buy a lot of them. Yeah.
Right? I hope there's no day that there's pigeons running around like that. So
yeah, it'd be chaos. It'd be worse than drones. It'd be shitting everywhere.
Oh gosh, yes. So a lot of our viewers are new people who are just getting started with their agency. So what were the steps that you took when you first started your agency? And obviously you had experience with the fitness stuff, but how did you start from ground zero with the agency?
It was started in I sat in a boardroom, and myself and my co-founder, who was a mate of mine that I brought in from a different business. So it was very strategically thought out at the start, going, okay. But everything that we really discussed back then now, because I've still got it in a frame, like all the butcher's paper that we had up on the wall, writing this and that, everything on that paper came true within 6 months, but then it's no longer true to this day. Like it changes and evolves so rapidly, like because we're in a brand new industry. Well, it's because we're paving the way in a different category right now. Like, and I just want to make a distinction is that we're not a digital agency. We don't see ourselves as a social media agency. We don't see ourselves as a digital marketing agency. We're a digital growth agency. Okay. Very, very important. Digital growth. We grow and scale. And I know people go, oh, but that's what ads do. It's like, not when you're not looking at it from a strategic business, ROI, profit-driven process. So we're a digital growth agency, right? And our obsession is growing profit. So we're not running accounts each day and just being guided by the person, our client going, oh yeah, can you spend this much now? Okay, let's up the budget. It's like we're creating scale phasing over a 12-month period, going, okay, here's what we want to do when this happens. Here's where we're going to phase. We want to introduce a new service here because of X, Y, Z. And when the revenue increases, we can go do da, right? So that's the difference, right? You're not just running ads. But your question around how did it all start? It was done in a step-by-step process. I had our first client that paid for the first, so I was bootstrapped from the get-go. Put in like $10,000 to buy a couple of computers. And we used the first client's revenue to deliver. I was the guy running the ads until we hired someone to take that over. So from day one, and this is important if you do have ambitions to build an agency. My first thought for you would be to think about, why are you actually wanting to do this? Okay. Because I'm telling you right now, half of our employees are people who have tried to run an agency. It is not easy. I'm telling you. Nope. Like it's the hardest business model that I've ever built and run. And it's purely because it's so new and there's no real map to follow, right?
Yeah. And just because you're saying it's the hardest doesn't mean that it's not the least enjoyable business. It's just the hardest.
Of course. Yeah, of course. So I just want to get people prepared, because it's not like, oh, we can go and get 3 Facebook clients and charge them $3,000 a month. And I'm earning $100,000 a year. I'm a 6-figure business owner. It's like, well, no, like there's a lot more to it. Because what happens if your 2 clients leave?
Back to ground zero.
Yeah, so you're building just an extremely weak foundation. So my first thing is have a think about what you really want to do. From day one, we set out to be number one in the world. So we want to build, the number one digital growth agency globally. At the time, it was a Facebook agency because we were just so focused on Facebook. Yeah. And then as things progressed and, to get better results, you needed to expand and so on and so forth. So we adapt with the times. It was really done. The first thing was, how do we remove myself? And this is what I say to every founder and every business, ideally, unless you want to be on the tools and do that, then that's a different conversation. I've got a couple of consulting clients that I have where, they just want to design shoes. Well, that's why they got into it. They didn't get into it to build a business. Like there's a number of people right now I know listening to this, most likely, who are really good at Facebook ads. And they're like, oh, I should just build my own agency. But they have zero business acumen and they don't want to actually build a business. They like the idea of the outcome of what it could look like for a business. But are you prepared to, back to my point earlier, are you prepared to do all of the shit things, that you don't want to have to do, hiring and firing of staff and building out processes and structure and,
accounting
keeping
and
people
taxes.
accountable and meeting payroll every week. And like, you're like, well, I just wanted to run ads. I'm really good at Facebook ads. It's like, well, just know if you want to build an agency, unless you're going to hire someone to come in and build the business for you, what you currently love right now and are passionate about will quickly disappear. Quickly disappear. Right. So as long as you know that, that's all I'm saying. Caveat.
That's I knew that.
I knew that from the start because my mindset was, how do I remove myself from every position within this business as fast as we possibly can?
And how fast did you do that?
2 years.
Okay.
And that was the goal. 2 years, remove myself from every role within this business so it could operate without me.
Nice.
Now it can, but I've now created a role, which for me, it allows me to be able to add what a lot of businesses don't add, and I guess we could call it our competitive advantage, is, it allows me to be able to be in a role where I can do the really important things that's going to grow and move and scale our business.
Okay. All right. So when you first started, what was the biggest hurdle that you had in starting the agency and how did you overcome that?
The biggest hurdle was just getting it right. And I mean, I probably don't see it as a real big hurdle. It was probably the thing that we ideated the most. It was, because I'd had experience. I'd already spent, over $2 million on Facebook ads myself in my own business.
Because of the fitness agency.
Prior to starting this business. So I already had, a pretty good understanding around that. Yeah. For me, it was like, well, how do I find someone else who even has like a moderate level of skill like I had in that? Now, admittedly, there was a lot of things that I didn't do or wasn't doing in my ads because I was running the ads. I was the guy running the ads. Yeah. If I'd have known sooner, I would have taught someone sooner and brought them in. But, the point there was, how do we then find someone? And it's not that I don't have the mindset of, I'll just do it myself. I can do it better. Right. I'm very, very open to having someone else doing it 60, 70% better. Sometimes 120% better, right? But so I'm humble in that aspect where my ego's not big enough to go, well, only I can do it. But it was a struggle finding the right intelligence, the right people. And even to this day, if you look at what's one of our biggest hurdles, like our biggest hurdle is finding the talent that is upskilled enough to be able to work at the level that we expect and we put out there into the marketplace. That's the big, and again, it's the reason being is there's no course out there nor should there be, where there's a 4-year degree around how do you become a Facebook ads expert, right? Yeah. I mean, there's people who have created certain courses and this and that, but the reality is it's a new industry. And it's our Achilles heel is also our opportunity. Yeah.
Well, and it's always changing. So the minute you learn something 6 months from now, it's not going to be the same. And
like we get people come in, like we've interviewed, I would have been in 150 plus interviews with people wanting a role as one of our digital strategists. And they've done a 4-year marketing degree, this and that. And I'm like, oh my, like, nothing against 4-year marketing degree. And this doesn't mean if you've done one, it doesn't mean you're this person. So don't take it to heart. Right. But it's like, what have you even learned in that? Like that is transferable. Yeah. Now, of course, there's some things, let's not get it twisted. I know there's, you can understand, marketing psychology and persuasion, all those things that are infused. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you're ready to jump in and start running paid advertising campaigns. It's just a different skill set, but skills are teachable, right? Yep. We have this philosophy. We need to be able to, and we're ideating it and fine tuning it. I need to be able to bring my mother, right, 65-year-old woman into this business and have her run ads for us if we needed to.
Yeah.
So that would mean, how do I take someone who knows absolutely blip about doing it to then being able to do it, right? You know, so the differences in this industry is it's a multifaceted skill set. You can be a technical person, and I could teach you in 10 minutes how to go and create an ad, use an ad set. I mean, Facebook sort of do it for people. And again, that's the Achilles heel for a lot of people, because they're like, oh, just follow Facebook's step-by-step process, you know, and then they're like, well, why doesn't it work? Because it's not just an ad, right? It's everything surrounding that ad. It's like, why did you use that creative? Why did you use a video versus a still image? Why not a carousel? What are you saying in the ad? You know, like people go, oh, my ad doesn't work. No, maybe your landing page is shit. Maybe you're not, maybe there's disconnect and congruency between what you're actually saying in your ad and your landing page. Maybe it's the actual image. It turns people off. You know, maybe the words aren't right. Correct. And it's about knowing what to test, when to test, how to pivot, how to move. And that's the hard part. Anyone can create an ad. You know, whenever we run an event, I'll ask the audience, who here's stand up if you've run Facebook ads before? Everyone stands up. Like now, everyone stands up. It's like, cool. Stay standing if you've spent over $10,000 on ads, and majority of people sit down. Yep. I'm like, stay standing if you've been running ads every day for the last 30 days. And again, there might be half a dozen people stay standing, you know, and it's not surprising, because it's hard. It's tough. It's not easy. It's not something that you as a business owner should be doing. In my view, it is not something that business owners should even be knowing or learning. They need to have the intelligence to be able to hire or partner, and which is obviously where we come in, because you don't just get a singular marketing person. Like we have a very different approach in the marketplace. We have teams of creatives, copywriters, technicians, strategists, and we all work collectively together to come up with what is happening. And something's not working. Mary's not sitting in the booth by herself. Who Mary as well, she's the admin who's just been handed the ads for some business. She's like, oh, okay, I'll do it because I know how to post on social because I've got a profile, right? And this ain't no diss towards Mary, but this is how some business owners' minds work. It's like, well, let's just throw her the social media or him the social media. She should be able to run some ads because she's young, right? Social media is young. And then all of a sudden Mary's like, oh, that ad that I didn't work. Shit, what do I do? Well, I'm capped out at my own intelligence. I can't tap into anyone else's. You know, you don't see people on Facebook asking, what do I put in the W-2 wages and salaries field for my BAS return? Yeah. You don't see that. Why don't you see that question? Because you've got an accountant, right? If you got a letter in the mail or you got an email from a legal firm saying, you know, we're suing you for $895,000 because of X, Y, Z. Are you going to reply to them and go, nah, no thanks, mate, not interested? No, you're not. What are you going to do? You're going to go either find a lawyer you already know or get on Google and go, help, right?
After you've had a stiff drink.
yeah. Go and drink a bowl of whiskey. But it's true, right? But you see people out there all day, every day going, hey, I got an ad set and it's not working. What should I do here? And it's like, well, that's the wrong question. It's the wrong question, unfortunately, because it's just going to keep sending you down this twisted, rotten garden path till you get to the end where you're fed up and you're like, I'm no longer doing this. And it's like, oh, imagine if you had that thought 6 months earlier or 12 months earlier and you hadn't been banging your head against the wall. You invested time, energy, money, because if you're building a business, that's all you have to invest: time, energy, and money. Right? If you got no money right now, you need to become obsessed about Facebook ads then. That's it. Yeah. Your options are you need to become obsessed about it and sit down, go and consume every free thing that you ever could possibly consume outside of the time you are building your business. So I'd get home 9 o'clock to however, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And that's when I'd be doing my learning. Because I still had to make money, right? So you can either learn it yourself, you can go and get a second, third, fourth job and work 23 hours a day so you can generate the money to then pay someone to do it. My biggest piece of advice, which I'm finding is coming to fruition a lot more is businesses fall into the trap of hiring a singular person to become their marketing department. It is the worst thing for any any business at all, because marketing is, and I keep harping on about this, marketing is more than just an ad or a social media post.
Yep.
It's the psychology of how do you get someone who knows nothing about you all the way through to knowing, liking, and trusting you and wanting to give you money.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me anything more important in business than that.
So tell me one thing. You're definitely known for growing companies quickly. What would you say is the key to doing that successfully? So you want to do it the right way, but if you're also wanting to scale quickly, what was your key to that besides hiring, other people to do that stuff for you?
I'll say this loosely, but I sort of mean it is, shoot first, aim second, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, and me especially, I am so connected to my intuition that 9 times out of 10, and let's even go moderate, let's say even 7 times out of 10, still a good number. 7 times out of 10, I'm right on my first decision, right? Like my first instinct. So I look at risk to reward ratio, and I think this is a good way to solve, I think, anything in life, I reckon. And I'll give you an example. In the weekend, we went to the shopping mall, and I just got the new iPhone 11. And I'm like, I need a case for it. And I went to the first little kiosk where they have the cases, phone cases. And I look in there, I'm like, okay, cool. What do you got? Those. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I like that. I'm like, yeah, I'll grab that. And my wife, she goes, oh, are you sure you don't want to have a look at the other ones? I'm like, firstly, pretty sure, because I just said I wanted to buy it, right? I said, hey, do you mean you would like to go and have a look at some more? And I said, you do realize it is actually my phone. Like, I'm the one who has to look at it every day. He's like, yeah, I know. But because again, her way of thinking, and I mean, we balance each other out. But I was like, you know what? Sure. We got nothing to do Saturday morning. We'll go and have a look at some other phone kiosks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, beautiful. Go off to the second phone kiosk, have a look at something. Not quite what I wanted. Third one, not quite what I wanted. Fourth one, went back to the first one and got the phone case that I originally had. And I said, and this is sort of where it even come to light even more so, and hence why it's quite fresh right now speaking about this, is that 7 times out of 10, and I actually feel it's probably more like 8 or 9 for me right now, is when you're tapped into your own intuition, the answer comes to you quickly. Because, for example, if there was an explosion, you ain't got time to sit there and go, I wonder which exit I should take. I might go out that one. No, I might hide under the desk. Let me have a look at this. Like, if I hide under the desk, what's going to happen? Like, you don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, bang, I'm out. I'm falling down the path, and you have to back your intuition that that's going to be the right decision. Now, I also don't want to make sure I'm leaving a business lesson here where it's like there's an explosion, you have to react quickly, right? Just preface that. But the chances are, if you're an intuitive person and you're a remotely smart human being, which anyone listening to this would be, because you don't listen to podcasts if you ain't a smart human being, right? In my view. So trust your intuition and your gut feel initially. And if you're like, oh, I don't know about that, Brett, that seems a bit risque. Let's go back through the last 10 major decisions that you've had to make. And let's have a look at where your first thought was actually the right thought. If it's more than 50%, you're actually winning, right?
True.
You're actually winning. It's a coin toss regardless.
Yeah.
So for me, it's being able to act fast and follow my gut feel. And it's not just to be super loose and leave a destructive hurricane behind me, right?
Yeah.
To act on from your intuition, because again, I truly feel that most times you're going to be right. And then what happens is we get into this overthinking. I need to think it. Like when I go to a restaurant, I look at a menu and within 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I already know what I'm having.
Oh my gosh, I'm so not that person.
So, here's the thing, right? Because I'm content if I see lamb chop, blah, blah, blah there. I'm like, cool, I haven't had that for a while. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I don't need the mental disruption in my head of going, shit, do I feel like beef or lamb, or do I want a vegetarian meal today? Oh no, I might have the ribs. oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. Now I'm stressing out. I'm not having a good time. I'm overthinking it. I'm like, like it's funny when you see people ordering to the last second where the waiter's there and they're like, I'll take that one. It's like, holy heck. Like what that meant was you were forced to make a decision just then.
Yeah.
Because if that waiter wasn't there, you'd probably sit there for another 5 minutes, maybe another 10 minutes. Some people people would never decide. And they're like, oh, what should I get? Like that's like handing all power over.
Yeah.
So I truly feel one of the biggest things that we could all do, especially entrepreneurs is business owners, is to make decisions faster. Like I would not have had a franchise if I didn't sit there and go, let's build one. Mm-hmm. I put one post on Facebook just to get, because you know how sometimes you need a little bit of a push, like to go, yeah, okay, do it. Or a friend, like you've probably got a friend, I've got a friend that I'll message and I'll say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you reckon? Like, I'm going to buy this new car. I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And I know what the reply is. I just need it. It's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I thought so. Right? Sometimes we all need that, right? I'm the same. Well, sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to give it to ourselves or have that person in your corner.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, I put a post on Facebook going, okay, even though I'd already had evidence that people wanted to train around the country, not enough to start a franchise, mind you. Like, 100 people said they want us to come to their city. It's like, oh, great. Yeah. But in this case, I think it's about like 800 or 900 on this one post. I was like, okay, if we build a location in your town, where do you want it? And Canberra, Newcastle, Brisbane, bang, 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 all these areas. I was like, oh, sheesh, there's a fair few people here. Wonder what would happen if I put a page up and actually put the opportunity. Because here's the secret. I was already building a database of fitness professionals and business owners regardless. Because I'm always playing the super long game. Okay. The super long game. So I'm already playing my next 5 year, what's happening. And I'm planting seeds now. So I'd already had a database of probably about 10,000 personal trainers. Okay. Right. Wow. And I invested money in building that. Because I was like, one day I probably might coach them. I'm sure I'll probably coach them because I love teaching. I'm a teacher at heart. I just love to share. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I was like, well, maybe I might do some coaching or mentoring for some of them. And I was like, oh, let's build a franchise. Bang, put it out there. And again, inundated with people because they'd seen the journey, seen what was going on. But I never would have done that if I just didn't sit there and write the sales page. I didn't go through 3 or 4 versions of the sales page. I followed a method that I've been using with our fitness products and everything. I was like, that's good. Yep. Okay, cool. Good enough. Got it up the next morning, send it out. Holy shit. Okay, now I need to hire someone. I need to bring someone in for this. Here's what I did. We got so inundated. Like I said, over 170 trainers, people applied to be a part of the business. My process at the time was I was like, okay, cool. So what will happen is when we launch this, people will fill out an application, about 10, 15 questions. Yeah. And then what I'll do is I'll book an hour with each of them to go through it. As you could imagine, after the first day, I was like, there's 170 plus hours of conversations here. I did the first day, like 9 hours of back-to-back calls saying the exact same thing. I was like, oh my God, like I lost my voice. I'm like, this ain't going to work at all. I need to hire a salesperson. Yeah. I need to hire a salesperson, but I need to make this easier. So all I did was I recorded the hour conversation that I'd have with people and I condensed it down into a presentation and they had to watch a 30-minute video before they even got to talk to us. So I did it on the fly. I didn't sit there and go, oh, I can foresee this being a problem. Sometimes shit just happens. You need to adapt. Yeah. So be quicker to make decisions and be okay with changing the path you're currently on very quickly. If you can adopt those 2 philosophies and the rest just happens.
I love it. That is really good advice. And that's a really good ending point for us. So thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Digital Agency Insiders Podcast. For more tutorials on growing your digital marketing agency, make sure to visit digitalagencyinsiders.com.